So we put a lot of investment in our travel trade relationships. Unlike North America, where we're used to buying a lot of travel through online travel agencies like Expedia, Travelocity, Travelzoo. A lot of parts of Europe, parts of Asia still buy a lot of their travel through tour operators and travel agents. One of the key reasons, especially in Germany, is if you book a package to a hotel that says they have 5 restaurants and 6 pools, and you show up and they only have 3 restaurants and 4 pools open, they're going to refund part of your money. So, you know, it's really important for some of those travelers to have that insurance policy built into their package. So we have trade representation in Germany, Japan, South Korea, UK, and Brazil. And we are interviewing firms for China and Taiwan, also India and Australia. So China and Taiwan are happening in the next few weeks. India is happening in late November, and Australia will happen in December. So it's really important for us to sort of lay these trade, relationships up before we move in with brand media, because we want to be able to have the infrastructure in place. So when we spend millions of dollars going direct to consumer, getting them inspired to come to the United States, we've got travel product ready to sell. And that's important because you don't want to inspire people to come and then there's not the infrastructure to sell them because they might buy a trip somewhere else. We've been really aggressive in our trade show calendar because we really want to take that message of us being welcoming and ready to tell the world, come and visit us. And the only way to do that is to really go to every global trade show that makes sense for us, set up a Brand USA pavilion, and have our partners come with us. And so for the first time, the United States really has a coordinated effort at a lot of these shows to have a space. When you go to some of the big ones like World Travel Market in the UK, whole countries have entire areas. So you've got the Middle East in one area and Egypt owning a huge section of that. And that didn't really exist for the United States because there was no coordinated official country effort. And now we have that. And now we can actually lay out a space that says, here's the United States. And within that, we do these block parties, or so we've started to call them. And they've been successful for us because it's a way for our communities and our partners to showcase something unique about themselves. And I love to tell the story that at ITB last year, which is in Berlin, Germany, Michigan had a very special delicacy they were showcasing, which was Spam with pickled cherries. But it got people talking and asking questions about Michigan and wanting to go try it. And that led to more conversations. And while it is a unique combination for those of us here in the mainland, for parts of Asia and other parts of the world, Spam isn't such a rare commodity as it is here. So these are all of our trade shows. Luckily, I'm not in the travel trade side, or I might be exhausted, I might be sleeping on my feet. But they've really been traveling all over the world and really selling this idea about the United States. And while they're there, developing strong trade and media relationships. So, one of the things that the Travel Promotion Act really lays out is, did you raise international visitation? Yes or no? And that's a fairly simple metric. Did you educate people about entry and exit policies? And then you can bullet point list all the ways you did that. But if that's the only way that we really measured success, we really wouldn't be successful. So we laid out some things that we really wanted to measure ourselves against. And I love bullet point number 2, slightly biased. But what's great about that one is we can start to measure and monitor how people are feeling about us long before any qualitative research can be done. We can know instantly if people are responding positively, if we're moving the needle on some of those perceptual barriers that exist. And that to me is really important because we have to be flexible, we have to be nimble, we have to be able to pivot if things aren't working, and you don't know that if you're not listening. And so I was really excited when they wanted to include this idea about social monitoring and social sentiment, because really, you know, in sort of the anonymous world of Twitter and Facebook, you know, they don't know that we're listening, they don't know that they're watching or that we're watching them, but we're able to listen in a way that you can't really listen when you're doing qualitative research. So we laid out how we are going to track success, how we're going to actually begin to measure ourselves. And you know, these are the 4 paths that we wanted to look at. And so this is our schedule for actually measuring the first wave of qualitative research on the campaign for the initial 3 launch markets. We want to track them all the way through the consumer journey. And I can go into more detail on these, but most people, once I get to the research, I start to see their eyes go down. So the most positive part of this 3-month campaign was that intent to travel or perception about the United States is up 21 points. And that was a really, really positive indicator to us that we really struck a nerve in a positive way with people. And you know, you see sort of Japan 59% to 67%, UK 51 to 57%. So we really moved the needle in a short amount of time. Here's some digital sort of statistics. So the Land of Dreams is available as a full song download and also as a ringtone. You can download it for free on our website, but the majority of people are downloading it on iTunes and paying for it, which is great. You know, Facebook fans, we really laid out sort of a global infrastructure that allow us to address a lot of those barriers that I'll get to in a little bit. We've had really high engagement on the website as far as how many pages people are visiting and how long they're staying on the site, which is a really great indicator that you're getting qualified visits. I could stand here and say, oh, we had 5 million visits to our website, but if people are staying 20 seconds and they're not going anywhere, then it's really not a success story. So all of these, you know, really positive attributes to the United States went up. Breaking it down by country. So I love these results from Canada. I mean, I'm not a big market research person, but I have to imagine that 47% of people that we talked to recognized the campaign and then linked it directly to us. That's pretty amazing. Those numbers are pretty great. You'll see Japan and UK are much more normalized, but this was really a great number for us. So in Japan, 30% recognized at least one part of the campaign, and then 24% recognized and linked it. And still about a quarter of the people we talked to, which is still a strong number, recognized the campaign and linked it directly to Brand USA. Mm-hmm.
I am a market research guy.
Okay.
Is that 24% or 24% of the 30%?
24% of the 30%.
Thank you.
So 6% recognized the campaign but didn't link it directly to the United States. And this is the UK. So, you know, a little bit lower numbers, but still fairly positive. So when kind of talking about our partnership programs, we've got a huge array of ways to partner with Brand USA. I'm only going to talk about a couple of them, but I can certainly give you a link to look at our partnership brochure online if you're looking for much more in-depth. But this kind of lays out the 5 ways to partner with us, and this kind of goes into a little bit more detail. You know, we'll talk primarily about some of the digital opportunities. I mentioned the FAM tour with British Airways. It'll be our first one of what we hope to be many. We've had some really great insights on our social channels so far. In fact, Japan, our community in Japan, while only having 12,200 and change Facebook fans, has such high engagement. We partner with a company called Wildfire, which is a third-party Facebook client. They've been so wowed by our numbers, they're actually going to do a case study on our Japanese Facebook page, because we consistently get 12% or more of our entire audience to be engaged on an entire month, which is really unheard of. You could scale that to hundreds of thousands of people. If we can continue that engagement as we grow that community, this will be one of the most valuable markets for social co-ops, if you will, because that market is clearly engaged and interested in what we're saying. This is sort of the breakdown of some of our Twitter insights. It's been much easier in the UK and Canada to sort of engage with people. In Japan, social media is used not as a way to sort of connect directly and sort of leverage and extend and retweet, but much more of a way for custom content creation. So it's a much more personalized, me taking opinion, me stating my opinion, and not as a way to engage with brands and sort of get information or engage with people that way. So going back to our perceptual barriers, one of the things that struck me is this idea that we're unwelcoming and we're brash and arrogant. And what we could have done is what a lot of countries do, is create one Facebook page and one Twitter account and post in English, and then every once in a while do some geo-targeted language posts. But I felt that was really not going to work well for us, because we had some serious barriers that we had to address. And so, this is why we created these individual social communities. So I have community managers in all of these countries who develop our social communities. I oversee a really robust monthly global social editorial calendar, which they take in, they review for any cultural holidays or anything that might sort of have a better influence or voice within their market, and then they're encouraged to sort of create the community and take from that. Yes?
Are your community managers native to the respective countries?
Yes, they all live in their own countries. In Canada, we're one of the first country tourism organizations who's actually devoted resources to marketing both in English and in French. So in Canada, I have two community managers, one who lives in Toronto, one who lives in Quebec. And Joanie, who lives in Quebec, she tweets in French, she posts on our Facebook page in French, and she's been really active getting people to engage with us. It was a little bit challenging at first, because I think people thought that we just had one person and they were, mainly English speaking, spoke a little French, and we were going to try to reach out to that market. But Joanie was really active in a lot of French-Canadian Twitter chats related to travel specifically, and has really set herself apart from a lot of the clutter that's out there in sort of travel marketing, and it's been really successful for us. So there's a lot of opportunities to partner with us on our social channels. All of these are free. These opportunities don't cost you anything. And I'd like to thank the Boston Pops people. If I would have known you were here, I would have shown our really great, we did a summer guide. And one of the things we covered was some 4th of July programs. And our timeline photo cover of the week was of the Boston Pops Orchestra. And we had really great response from Canada especially, saying Happy Independence Day, I love fireworks, I love USA, and it was really wonderful. And on Canada Day, we posted a video of Bryan Adams getting New York Square Garden to sing Happy Canada Day, and we wish them all Happy Canada Day. So we've had